Evening everybody. First up, I've moved the mic in the helmet, which should give less wind noise, but it's right close to me gob now, so this is a bit of a trial. I shall have to watch how I'm speaking, not being too loud, because it will distort. Interceptor revisited. Webley went in for some warranty work on the valve thingy under the engine, like a union and valve that's part of the emission system on the vapour side. But anyway, I have been offered a reasonable price from the dealer for Thunderbird 4, even though she's 19 years old. And I'll say straight off, I would err towards the Interceptor now. It's a little bit more practical, but it is a lot more uncomfortable on your bottom. That seat is awful. I'm doing about 20 miles and it hurts, so that would have to change. And I know there's touring seats available. I'm not doing any leisure riding at the moment because of the current situation in the country with the virus, and I'm only riding for essentials, taking bikes in for repairs, picking up parts, going to work. Let's see what she's like. I've had this overnight. I've done about, I don't know, 40 miles. It's got the screen on as an extra and engine bars, standard pipes. The Interceptor is still as good as it was before. I know there's a recall on the brakes due to some types of salt attacking parts of the caliper and the piston and the cylinder, I think, if I remember correctly from reading it today. It is a recall. You'll be contacted by your dealers. It's not just the twins though, it's the Himalayan as well, or Himalayan. My biggest beef with the Interceptor is what it's always been, the seat. It's the shape mainly. It rams up your backside because it's slightly curved, so you're like sitting on well, edge is a bit too over the top, but you know what I mean, you're not sitting on the full surface to my mind, and then the edges of the seat then ram into your bloody backside. The screen I wouldn't bother with on this. For me, I think it makes more wind noise, it throws more up me helmet, so I wouldn't bother with that. And oh, thanks pal. Yeah, just, you know, what was that, 5 foot? Yeah, dick. But yeah, still a cracking machine, still smooth, torquey. Hardly see past his bleeding nose. I've had a look at the video I did earlier, the ride video, because I did the first impressions and the ride video. I didn't notice it on the other Interceptor, but this one, it's a long way down for the brake pedal, the rear brake pedal that is. Now maybe that can be adjusted, I don't know, but that's been noticed. Now whether I will chop in Thunderbird 4 for one of these or the 650 CGT, I don't know. Main problem, issue, whatever, is that it's not a like for like sort of change of bike. I still like the orange tank on the Interceptor. I can hear the wind noise now, it's terrible with this helmet. Let's try shutting the vents. Yeah, good bikes. I would have the bar pulled back one notch on the clamps. It's a bit of a stretch for me, and I can't go too crazy on it because it's running in still, so with 180 miles on it, so we're doing 50 mile an hour, just a smidgen over 3,000 RPM in top. It's a lovely evening. It's been the warmest day of the year so far. Of course, people who are sticking to the guidelines can't really get the benefit of such weather, but I've seen plenty of people not sticking to the guidelines. But that's all I'm going to say on that, because I'll just get wound up, because this is about the Interceptor, and it is a great bike. I wouldn't bother with the engine bars either. I don't know if they do a rear carrier, that might be useful. I've got no real issues with the bike really, apart from the seat. The seat is awful. Now I haven't sat on thousands of bikes, but I've had quite a few myself, and I've had test rides on loads of bikes, courtesy bikes over the years, and I do prefer in general the slightly head down arse up position. This is the standard seat mine, but this is second only to a Bonneville. It's been a while now since I've sat on one, so they may have changed, but I think it was a 2011 one, and I sat on one a bit newer. That was 4 years ago, both standard, and straight away the seats are like a slab. This isn't quite that bad, but as I said, 20 miles and it hurts. That is my biggest beef, and I've got that's sort of it really. It's a lovely machine, rides nice, bargain price of course. I don't want to do this a disservice because it is a good bike. Obviously it's a modern retro, more so than the singles. I do like them, but do I like them enough to want one? And the Triumph would have to go. I suppose I like them enough in what they do themselves, and I'm talking totally obvious now, it's not a Daytona. Oh, I don't know. But it's nice to try one again. Lovely evening. It's a shame I've got to go to work. It's smooth. There is a bit of a chirp from down below somewhere. At slow speeds, this little chirp occurs. I don't know what that is. There is one thing I've noticed, and I don't think I noticed it on the previous videos, whether it be the Interceptor or the Continental GT 650. There's no clock, and that's all I would really add is a clock. It's got one thing on this I can't remember on the other bike that I would like on all the other Royal Enfields, and that's a fine-tune adjustment for the clutch up the top, instead of just having the adjustment at the bottom. This has got that. That's good. So competent in its class, even without the good price. It's well worth a try if you haven't tried one. If I had one, would I have the loud pipes? Initially I thought yes, and the weight saving's the main issue. These do sound alright as they are. Fits in the garage nice as well, I didn't expect it to. And it's not much bigger than Smelly really, a little bit wider. I'll try and go a nice route-ish into Brum. The benefit of course of late is there's been very little traffic. There you are, pulls up straight as a die and very quickly. And we've got a single disc of course, not a twin, which I thought they'd have gone for a twin, but it's perfectly adequate. Oh crap, something's happened in the tunnels. I was going to try and show you what she sounds like, but there you go. Well, she handles alright, goes around there nicely, no fuss. This is a quite tight one, let's see what she's like. No problem at all, no grounding out, no nothing, just round. Over the rough stuff pretty good there. Cranked over a little bit, not much, but enough to make it interesting. Those of you who watch the Himalayan Yak videos, just over there, that exit there or entrance to the island, that's where Webley Mark II was walloped at the backside. Well, good morning all. Started a nice morning, gonna be grey. Shame really, because I found a new way home. It took me 8 years to find this one. I do like to vary it because it gets flipping boring. Although it does help being on a bike of course. Although I wasn't riding a bike at the time, you know, go back a few weeks and there was no traffic at all really to speak of in Birmingham. Hopefully I'll give you a few nice little bits of scenery. One thing I didn't mention last night was the foot pegs, which is an oft mentioned thing that people reckon they're in the way, and they are a little bit. I've said that before. If you've got decent boots on, it don't really matter. Yeah, if you're riding in short boots, then yeah, you might clonk your shin, but not really a problem for me. If you've got an Interceptor with a touring seat, I think there's a couple of variations, and you can put the CGT one on as well. It's all interchangeable. let us know how you get on and if it's much of an improvement for you. The clocks seem a little bit distant, if I was honest, you know, they seem a bit low down. And this is standard bars with standard clamps, but they do seem a little bit far away. They're okay, just an observation. I can see them. Should we say the clock though? It's very happy at bend swinging, I must admit. Now this island's the one, because it's got potholes just where you don't want them, or it did have. Let's see what it's like round here. Right, so we go into the bend. Yep, lovely, no problems there. Oh, must have filled it in. Anyway, smooth as silk round there. And this is Pebble Mill Road, where the BBC Pebble Mill Studios used to be on the left. Of course it's all gone now and been built on. School of Dentistry now. Now we go on to the A38, heading south. I've got no problems with the suspension for normal use, plenty of feel, not too harsh, not too soft. It's looking a bit black over Bill's mothers. Let's hope it doesn't rain for the next, what, 25 minutes, maybe a bit less. But we are heading right into it. This is an unusual name for a road. Lie close, lane. I don't think this way's any faster, but it's certainly more pleasant. Plenty of greenery going on. Now we're going to cross the M5, and basically we've cut out the whole of the Hagley Road and Quinton, and even the junction of the M5 at junction 3. Squirrel! The last block of the fuel gauge is flashing at me, just started. I put 6 litres in from almost bone dry, and it's now showing 67.4 miles of commuting. Some faster roads like this, but of course I'm only doing 50 max. Most of it's 30 or 40, some of it's 20. I would have thought 100 mile for 6 litres, going on what I've read. People getting like 80 miles to the gallon, keeping the speed down. Maybe a little bit less than that with normal use. We're not keeping an eye on things too much. Now, as I said, can't give it too much stick yet, but I can try the suspension out on the slower bits. Did this with the 650 GT and the other Interceptor. Let's test the handling out a little bit more. 5th, 4th. Keep it tight. Piece of cake. Absolute piece of cake. Nice looking 110 utility. Very nice, very clean, too clean really. Anyway folks, I think that's about it for now. On that note, it's about 6:30 in the morning. Time for bed, said Zebedee.